period. Yes, Ronaldo was scoring a lot of goals, but you found your Modric winning the Ballon d'Or, right? And
bro, we know why Modric. Guys, we know why Modric
without
won the Ballon
exception.
d'Or.
Listen,
The corruption, they
no,
pure
it's
and utter
fine.
corruption.
It's fine. Without exception. Let's say, for example,
It's corruption.
Yeah, I know. Well, we have our own opinions in terms
But
of
do you
that.
think Modric was the best player in 2018?
Well, I don't think that personally, but it's their opinion. It's what they. But looking at
It's a lie.
But when you look at the fact that he won it, it simply means that there was a loophole.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
In football or in the vote? Hello everybody, welcome to BOX2BOX, the football show. I am your host Sifiso, and I'd like to warmly welcome you to the first edition of the show. I am here with Mr. CEO, Mr. Whatspoppin, Mr. Tactical Genius. He told me to say all these things, so don't think it's that special. But Mr. CEO, welcome to my show.
Welcome, brother. How are you, man?
I'm pleased, man.
Yeah.
It's been a long time coming. I don't think people understand, how long the show's been.
It's been a minute. But I'm just excited that I'm here. I'm really grateful that I'm called. Actually, I really appreciate you calling me, inviting me to the show. So let's see how it goes, man. I'm excited.
Hey, man. Yeah. So let me not waste any much of your time, guys. What BOX2BOX is pretty much about, it will be everything football. It will be tactics, it will be transfers, we'll be looking at predictions, we'll probably have football games, when I question the boys about the history of football. It'll be pretty much everything. But I want it to be a show where people, even if you don't know football, I want you to use this football show to understand football and understand the game. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited, especially because of what we have planned for 2023. But without wasting more of your time, brother.
More of your time, brother.
I want to speak about the state of the football.
Okay.
State of football in these times. There's transfers. Yeah. There's international football, also African development. Mm-hmm. Let me start off with the African development. I think one of the things that is not helping African countries or international teams or players prosper in Europe, I think it's because the development stages of African football is not there. And we look at it, let's say in South Africa, let's look at our country, for instance. Mm-hmm. There are youth teams. There's Diski Challenge. What's this thing?
The Diski Challenge.
Right? Yeah, I think that the youth one, the reserve teams. Yeah. So those type of things.
Your castle.
They just came now. They just came now. But in terms of developing the youth in this country, it hasn't been a number one priority, and I think that's one of the most important things in a country or in a team's strength comes with the development.
Yeah, well, that's Fiso. I think that it's a system that's been really, really broken from the past. Because remember, when I look at the history, as I've been studying history of football, is that it's been in such a structure whereby players are scouted, and there are actually a lot of scouts who are scouting players from schools, because we don't have that in nowadays, right? So also that comes with also the funding, because I feel like in order for also the schools and the development of the football, there should be the funding that's needed in order for football to go in terms of scouting, tournaments, for example.
That's actually also important.
Because I feel like in terms of us growing, we do need even more investors who just going to be investing in schools, and we just need the government to do that, because if that can happen, and if we can invest in schools, that's where it's going to be easier for us to even scout good players, because I really believe that there are a lot of good players out there, especially in schools, because that's where a child spends most of his time.
Also,
also it's a problem when it comes to maybe joining a football team. I'm not saying they shouldn't, but then it's a problem in terms of transport for them, some of them, because they can't arrive there on time, and obviously they have to be fetched on time and stuff like that, and maybe the practice differ late at certain times. So I think bringing it to school, it's a situation whereby like it's easily accessible also for kids to also be exposed to football.
Like,
so
that one's actually, now that you mention it, something that I once thought about. One thing that I've noticed is a lot of people who don't get the opportunity to play football in high school, or even in their high school years, but they play for a development side, like maybe like Kaizer Chiefs youth teams. A lot of people who don't do that or don't get that opportunity, it seems as if they hope for becoming like a professional footballer is pretty much done. It's like there's no structure, there's no foundation into growing the player. And I think a lot of players feel that way. Is like because of the development lacking in our country or in this sport, it's as if, you know what, I can't be pro footballer because of A, B, and C.
Yeah. You're right. And also, just to dive into that, like, look at players like your Dlamini, the one that plays for Pirates. He was scouted, got Daviton, playing obviously football for a team and
Crazy,
stuff. But back in the days, it was a thing of like Bomasang, back in Davidton, they were scouted from schools, so you understand the difference. I'm not saying he's not a good player, but I feel like there are just certain structures that really hinder the growth of our football, and also
corruption.
Corruption. It's
the Grootman. The Grootman.
And also with regards to that, it's a thing of like, let's say my child wants to play football. I'm from a rich family and stuff. So it's a thing of, it's easier for me to literally like buy scheme for Ndwana
simple.
Pay the price for you understand? I think that's what happened. Also, even Leo age 4, I think that's what happened. Augustus Palacios, remember?
I remember there was a situation with that guy.
I think he was putting now. What do you call it more? Like the age. Oh fuck, more can hear. But then the age thingy, the fortune of the ages. Or
that thing happens even now. There was a situation. Now that you mentioned, I think it was the Cameroonian under-17 national team. So what happened with them was a lot of the players. They were supposed to go. I think it was a World Cup or something. So now a lot of them put in the wrong ages. A lot of them are actually older than their ages, and bro, like a lot of them were just cut out, cut out of the team.
Actually,
So it happens.
It's one of those fundamentals that the government has to solve, that the department has to deal with, departments of sports, and then we'll see growth in schools and in the development of the football. So I think that's what's needed. I think that's what's needed. So with regards to that,
it's a tough situation. The thing is, when I look at African football, I think that when it comes to finances, I think South Africa, or even just Africa entirely, I think we make a lot of money. Like, it's impossible for us to say we don't make money. As a nation, as a continent, we are rich, though. Like, we have money flowing in and out. So I wouldn't say, like, with the financing, there's no excuse for it. It's just the corruption is just overpowering like the finance that we have. So I feel as if, like, if we can take out the rotten eggs within the industry and obviously within the sport, if we can take those people out, I think we can start slowly working into developing the youth ages, and then after that working into professionals.
You're
But
right.
Other than that,
you're right.
I want to speak about international competition.
Okay.
So the reason why I want to speak about the state of football entirely is because as someone that loves football, I'm looking at it go into a direction that I'm not so pleased about, but also it is what it is. International competition, I'm looking at, especially the previous World Cup that we just saw now. Teams like Germany, Belgium, as much as those two teams are heavyweights and they got knocked out, it's as if some way...
Okay, but are they really that heavy?
Germany are 4-time World Cup champions. I mean, that's heavy. That's the second best.
But we're talking about like currently. Do you think that
obviously currently they have good players. They have really good players, world-class players. But it's a thing of, did the competition around them improve, or did they just not focus on improving themselves?
I think it's with them not improving themselves.
Because
right?
the thing is, that can happen and that can be the case. But I think that if Germany did not improve themselves, then that means other national teams didn't improve. Like your Portugal, like your Belgium. As much as Portugal made the quarterfinals, I wouldn't say they did better than they should be doing.
Well, okay. I don't know if I should answer this in terms of like Portugal specifically.
Yeah.
But then when I look at like other teams, you're right in terms of improvement. I don't think you're right. They haven't improved enough and they haven't worked hard enough. But also remember that like in terms of but that's no excuse though. But in terms of like the World Cup on its own, there is always going to be that rivalry in terms of form. Right, because obviously it's different, and even the Qatar World Cup, referring to that, the difference with that World Cup was that the time in which it occurred, because it was in the middle of the season, so obviously you're expecting some players to be fatigued. You are expecting mentally obviously and physically fatigued, and you're expecting obviously injuries, but injuries can happen either way. But then looking into that, what I can say is that I think tactically, when I look at the World Cup, I think tactically and fitness-wise,
it improved. I would say it improved.
Yeah,
most round, like most teams.
I'd say teams like such as like your Portugal and as well as your
Belgium,
your Belgium and your
Germany, they dropped.
They were not.
They were not up to par.
In terms of like fitness, because when I look at them, the tactics, they're not bad. But then in terms of fatigue, that's one thing that I look at and I say to myself, I think players were just flat-footed, majority of them. So that's what I can say. So
you know what I was shocked about the World Cup? I know this is probably like a bit late.
Yeah.
But what I was shocked when I saw the World Cup was a team like Morocco. I'm sure everyone has a lot to say about Morocco, and I'm sure we all have a lot to say. But one thing that I was surprised about was their fitness levels. They completely outran a lot of their teams. Completely outran them. It was a shocker because these are not all the players are playing at the highest level. I mean, some of them are playing lower division. Some players are playing for look small
at
teams
Alvarez,
or anything.
Sorry to disturb you, but look at Alvarez, for example. He literally, the reason why he was just hot in the World Cup, because he was just physically fit. He hasn't been getting much game time in Man City. So it was just a thing of like right now, it was like sort of like a break with regards to the Premier League. And now he just flourished because he's just fit mentally, physically. You understand what I'm saying? So I feel like he outran most of the defenders. And look at Mark Allister, he was exceptionally good.
Was amazing. That final performance.
Besides the final performance, throughout the
whole tournament, because I saw he wasn't actually in the starting lineup in the first few games, and then when he obviously got given a chance to start, he started showing that I can step up.
Enzo Fernandez, for example, he was really exceptional in terms of style of play. So with regards to that, I would say the standard of players that we have at this point in time, I think it's a very like most talented generation that I can look at.
What do we owe that to, actually? Now that I think about it, because I wouldn't say I disagree with you, because I think a lot of the football players of now are very talented, like maybe technical ability, maybe, like speed, they have that thing, they have physicality, but what can we owe that to? What can we say, you know what, that's the one thing that made football what it is today, which is so many talented stars on the pitch?
Obviously, talent is only a small portion of it. Another portion of it, it's applying the talent in terms of like the style of play. Because as you can see, this modern day football, it's tactical, right? So obviously, it's a thing of like you a player has to also adapt to the coach's vision with his talent, type of thing. So that's why I spoke about like the application of your talent on the pitch. So when I look at that, players such as your Haaland, your Mbappe, they've mastered that to such a point actually at an early stage, whereby you would find that some of the players previously mastered that at the later stage. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, so when I look at like players right now, they're developing at the much higher rate, right? As opposed to previous players, obviously giving respect to the old players, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, but then right now football is no more just about talent. It's also about the application of your talent, which is tactical abilities,
dedication, hard work as well.
We understand. So it's
Span,
so it's no more just about horaga, it's about ngqondo, because when you also look at like in terms of like the positioning of the goalkeepers back then and look at it now.
Keeper was always on the line back then. Now they push up, they're outside the box.
You understand what I'm saying? You have sweeper
tactically,
keepers.
football has changed.
You understand what I'm saying? So right now it's a thing of like when you just look at those dynamics, you start to realize that our modern day football, players are really developing very fast to actually adapt into the more mature football. Which it might take them 4 to 5 years to actually mature in, but then they with their development they take plus minus 1 or 2 years. So yeah, in terms of that, like the growth of like our players in terms of our generation, I'm really proud when I look at the football state, right? So yeah, that's what I can say. And also going also through the disciplines, right? Because when you look at your Brazilian players,
back in the day, those ones were chapsters.
They were ill-disciplined. But then because of their talent, they relied more on the talent. But then now, as you can see, that it catches up with some of the players who are duplicating those lifestyles. It's that they do not reach the level which they supposed to be reaching. I'm gonna make an easy example. Let's go to Neymar. For me, his standards, like, I don't think he achieved what he could have achieved if he was more disciplined. You understand what I'm saying?
What could Neymar have achieved? Okay, let's look at Neymar, ne?
Yeah.
And I want everyone to actually understand what like Neymar's career. Let's look at Neymar and let's look at from the start, which was Santos days, and when we started learning, seeing him with that plaster those days.
Yeah.
And now he joins Barcelona, who the main man is still Messi. But even if the main man is Messi, they still have room for Neymar to develop. But now they went out and bought Suarez, and now they built a trio around those players. But Neymar was still not given the attention. But he still won the Champions League.
Yeah.
He still has a lot of goals. I can't say the exact number because maybe Mo will put the number there at the bottom or something. But like looking at Neymar, I think his career, as much as he hasn't won like an international trophy to be like, you know what, I'm Brazil's main man. He's an Olympic winner. He's I think he's a Confed winner if I'm not mistaken. They won Confed 2013 just before they hosted. I wouldn't say it was a bad career. Like I think he's still a superstar. He's still a very skillful player, one of the greatest of our time, if not like third greatest in this modern generation.
Okay.
Yeah, but hey, dog, he's playing against Messi and Ronaldo at the end of the day. He's achieved so much, but also he's playing against Messi and Ronaldo.
Yeah.
So do you think if Messi and Ronaldo were not there, do you think he would have won a Ballon d'Or?
Well,
of course.
Okay, well, in terms of that, let me just go back to just analyzing him as a player.
Yeah.
And also his achievements, which you've mentioned, right?
Yeah.
So, in terms of that, when I look at that, I realize that it's what's expected of him, but I feel like he could have done more, especially when we look at from the days of Santos to Barcelona. For me, I think during his time at Barcelona, he could have even improved like more than he improved right when he left from Barcelona. On tour, because I think he was I think he lacked the discipline when he left from Barcelona to PSG.
I feel like that makes sense.
And I think he took a decay, because when you look at from that time, from that period, yes, Ronaldo was scoring a lot of goals, but you found your Modric winning the Ballon d'Or. right? And
Bro, we know why Madrid. Guys, we know why Madrid
without exception. Listen,
the corruption, they
no,
pure
it's fine.
and utter corruption.
It's fine. Without exception. Let's say, for example, yes,
it's corruption.
Yeah, I know. Well, we have our own opinions in terms
but
of that.
But do you think Madrid was the best player in 2018?
Well, I don't think that personally. But it's their opinion. It's what they. But looking at.
It's a lie.
But when you look at the fact that he won it, it simply means that there was a loophole.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
In football or in the votes or
in football as a whole with regards to Neymar. I mean, I feel like after the period of I think 2017, 2018, right? After the Real Madrid was monopolizing the Champions League, right? I think after that period, as you can see Liverpool bringing up, I think that was the time where we would have expecting Neymar to actually outshine each and everyone.
Let's look at it. He got the Champions League final with PSG, which was their first ever Champions League final. Unfortunately, they lost champion score against Bayern.
But tactics.
Are we still going to be disappointed in Neymar?
Well,
I can't control so much.
I am because of when you look at the stats. Because of during that period, I think Mbappe had more stats than him. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Bro, let's understand this. Mbappe is the main man for PSG. No matter how much of a star, how experienced Neymar is.
How did that happen? Because
when he's a youngster, he's a superstar.
Wait. When Neymar firstly signed to PSG, he was the main man. So how did that transition to Mbappe becoming the main man? Because of look at when Neymar went to Barcelona, Messi still became the main man.
Messi has always been the main man from the moment he's joined the team.
No. The main man before Messi was
Ronaldinho.
You understand what I'm saying?
But he was always going to be the main man because it was fixed for him. It was fixed for him.
No, we can't say that.
What
he worked hard
Messi,
to get there.
Of course, undeniable.
That's exactly my point. I don't feel like Neymar put in as much work as you Messi with in terms of discipline.
Do you know what I think? I do agree with Neymar lacking some sort of discipline because he still lives that superstar life. And the thing, you can't mix those two, you know?
And I think...
the thing is with Neymar, you can't say he did not work hard. Because for you to play at the highest level, for you to be one of PSG's highest earners, for you to be one of the highest earners in the world, for you to be one of the best players in the world, you have to be working hard. You have to be stepping up week in, week out. So I don't doubt Neymar's work ethic. I don't doubt it. I think he works hard. It's just that there's some sort of discipline that he probably lacks, and maybe that's the factor that doesn't make him the greatest. You feel? Yeah. But other than that, we look at transfers now. Now that you mentioned Neymar, especially because we mentioned Neymar, and he's probably the most important transfer of all time because he's the most expensive. I wanted to mention the state of transfers. The way I'm seeing things, bro, everyone is just throwing money all around. Like players that have one good season are now worth 80 million or 100 million, and this player didn't do much, but now he's worth 60 million. And I saw this a lot with players like Declan Rice.
Like Anthony Gordon, for example.
Like Anthony Gordon, when Chelsea wanted to buy him, they were naming 60. They declined 60 million. They declined 60 million. They wanted 100.
Yeah.
And that's ridiculous.
Look at now, he's for 45.
45 million going to Newcastle, secured. Come on, bro. You see, it's those type of things that is the money being thrown around because you're trying to exploit the big teams, or is money being thrown around because, hey man, there's no longer a criteria of what's a good player anymore? Because it's like you're buying 100 million worth of a player with no like world class status. A player like Jack Grealish, yes, he's a good player. Yes, he had the potential. Like a player like Maguire, a player like Pogba and Pogba too. Those prices are ridiculous. Like it's those prices that you ask yourself, why did you actually pay this amount?
Let me stop you. But in terms of Pogba, I think he deserves it because of his branding. His branding is huge, so
I think maybe that's why it was at that price. Yeah, maybe that's why it was at that price.
Players like your Jack Grealish, your Harry Maguire, for me it was a thing of like I understood that
British fee. It was a British fee. Those extras, those tax ones. Yeah.
But then also, speaking about talent and applying the talent, you see, in terms of like the Grealish not fitting into Man City's format, for me, I'm not that much surprised. Because mainly he's a ball carrier, right? And City wants a winger which gets behind most of the time, a wide winger.
Yeah, who's getting on the baseline or who's gonna cut back and shot the pass to
and
Haaland,
Grealish is not that person. Grealish is more of like a De Bruyne, for example. It's just that obviously in terms of the passing, he won't pass, but he's more of like a creative player.
He wants to play with the ball. He wants to hold the ball. Wants to play.
Link up play.
Link up play.
So when you look at, so when you look at the way City is playing and the position in which he's placed, it's really kind of difficult for him, and I would understand because it's not his favorite position.
Do you know what I think?
So
because I think with Aston Villa, he played a lot on the left.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's where you can get the best out of Jack Grealish. With the player that he is, with his ability to carry the ball, he's got strength. He's got the ability to play make.
Ball control.
You play him as a. You try to find a way to play him as a number 8, or you try to find a way to play him as a number 10.
10, yeah.
And that also will depend on your style of play as a team.
Yeah.
If you need a ball carrier in the number 10 positions where he's carrying the ball from just outside of the box into the box and then finding the space to creating a space for the striker to obviously find, let's say, a Haaland to come 45 degrees off of his pass, off of Jack Grealish's pass. That can work.
Yeah.
If you want to play it that way, if you want to play it as a number 8, where he takes the ball from the midfield, carries just in front of the box, and then he passes.
Yeah, and
or something.
That's his favorite position.
Number 8, maybe.
Yeah.
I would say, I'd probably play him as a number 10 because of number 8 at Man City. I would rather have your Bernardo Silvas, or I would rather have your Gundogan. You know?
That's exactly that's what I'm saying. Like, in terms of that transfer, I don't think it was a transfer that was.
Didn't make sense.
It didn't make sense.
And it still does.
Because when I look at a team like Chelsea, a team like a United, he would fit in perfectly.
And we were linked to him,
yeah.
And he even said it, like he was actually like really close to joining United.
Though he's a United fan. Yeah.
He was me. Yeah, but like you were saying.
No, who was linked to United?
Jack Grealish.
Jack Grealish, Jack Grealish.
He was linked. He mentioned that he was actually really close to joining the team.
There was this tweet actually on Twitter.
Yeah.
You know when fans scroll down your Twitter like to back in 2010 and stuff like that.
He was supporting. He was busy.
When he was young, like, he used to actually post about menu when
the whole time.
wins. He used to like celebrate.
Then
with
he was
Menu.
still playing youth development. I think at Aston Villa because he's always been at Aston Villa.
Yeah, because he's been at Aston Villa. Yeah, he's been at Aston Villa. But
imagine.
So I guess
you're gonna go train Man City. Come on. You're letting us down, bro.
So
you're letting us down.
It's also it's the money.
Do you think money influenced that? Yeah, I think status did. This is the team, bro. This is the team that just won the Premier League the previous season, and now they're en route to winning another one.
Obviously,
do you not want to join that team? I would want to join. Me as a player, I want to join that team because now he has a Premier League title to his name. Steven Gerrard played how many years and he doesn't even have a single one. So separate things, but like I think status. Look at Harry Kane. Harry Kane is about to be the top scorer of the whole league, and doesn't have a trophy to his name. Not even a single one. Not even a Carabao or your FA Cup. He has nothing. You think that talent should be playing at Tottenham? That talent should be playing at Manchester United. If Manchester United ever sees this, hey, buy Harry Kane. I'll give you money if you need. Or money or something. You know, we need a striker like that at United, like a striker that's going to finish the goals 100% of the time.
So I would say the move was influenced by money, and in terms of our transfers, like you asked before, is that at this point in time, it's business transactions, to be honest.
Yeah, football is business.
Yeah, so right now it's really it, because when you look at also the agents, right?
I want to be an agent, and you're telling me about agents. What are you gonna say about agents? I'm gonna defend it.
Okay, well, when I look at agents, I would say the agents are also the influential people that are actually making the transfers to be as expensive as they are, right? Because right now they're treating players like brands, right? So they're selling brands more than they're selling their actual talent, right? So that's why I'm seeing how football's been moving. Because teams such as United, you can't be happy just because of like you have Pogba who's selling a lot of money and he's not performing, and you're happy with that. It's a problem.
But I disagree with that.
Okay, cool.
It's a problem, but at the same time, we have to also look at it like this way, because these teams are actually actually
he's recorded it. Yeah.
businesses and their companies.
Yeah.
And every team has a business model.
Yeah, every team
And with
needs to
United, I
have
know
it.
that every season they have to actually buy
The
like,
star player.
Yeah.
So because it
yeah.
also raises stock prices.
Exactly.
Like
That's
if
how
you
they
have the
make
best
money,
players,
actually.
the stock price, because United's on the stock exchange. So now when they're on the stock exchange, any news about United affects the price of United. So if they're paying a player like, especially that's why we bought Ronaldo. Because if you buy a player like Ronaldo, dog, it takes our stock prices up. Like
Because he made numbers, especially with the shirts.
T-shirt sales, and now
Yeah.
you're gonna take stock prices up. Now you're gonna stadium tickets. You can even raise them £5 a bit up, and everyone is gonna pay for that because Ronaldo's playing for United. So, the reason why I say I disagree with what you were just saying now, is because I wouldn't say agents influence the transfer fees, because what an agent does is go to a team and be like, you know what, my player is available for, you know what, this is his wages, this is what he's getting now, but we want maybe this much from you. So what he does now, the agent of this player is going to be like, okay, Sharp, tell me how much you're going to pay for our player. This is his market value according to this team. And then I'm going to go to this team and tell them that, no, this team wants to offer my client this much. My client is willing to move and change scenery and whatever. The agent only worries about the player. So if a player's wages is like exceeding what's normal in the league, then yeah, that's when you can say the agent, hey, he's exploiting. But other than that, transfer fees are based off of like Mudryk, Chelsea's latest signing. I'm not latest because they just made a signing like today or yesterday. Yeah, no, they've been signing. We're actually gonna talk about the Chelsea's transfer strategy.
Yeah.
But besides that, when you look at players like Mudryk, his overall, I think his overall price is 100 million with add-ons. Obviously, it's 60. I think 80 million with add-ons. But for that to be the case, it's because Shakhtar was like to Chelsea, you know what, we want this amount of money, maybe a base salary, maybe a base amount of like 80 or 70 million. And then they're like, you know what, we also want appearance or performance-based bonuses, which is what the add-ons are. So now if Chelsea make the Champions League, hey, Shakhtar get money. If Mudryk becomes a Ballon d'Or winner at Chelsea or something, or top scorer, Shakhtar get money. So it's those type of things. That's why transfer fees are so high up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then the people who discuss the negotiations are the agent and also the director of football.
No,
So,
the agent goes to the director of football of any team and is like, "Eto, my player earns this much at this team. When he comes to your team, can he please have a £10,000 increase?"
yeah, that's what I'm
Simple.
saying.
That has nothing to do with the transfer fee. That's his wage. That's why they call us every week.
But then also like that's what I'm saying. It affects the financial stability of the transfer.
It could. It depends.
Yeah, it
In what
does
sense?
because also when you look at in terms of the bonuses and stuff, the agents obviously it's the one that who
Yeah, the
literally
bonus,
yeah,
yeah.
you understand what I'm saying. And at times also in terms of obviously the fee, it's between the director of footballs of two teams, right? Plus the agent is also included because obviously he's representing his brand, so he has to be there. So obviously it's a thing of those three people in the boardroom. They are the ones that will literally discuss and initiate a fee, which they can both agree on. You understand what I'm saying? So, yeah, in terms of that, I would say agents, director of footballs, they're always, they're influential and most integral people who are influence the transfers. Because look at for example, the Liverpool's director of football, genius, before this one. The one who signed Sadio Mane, your Salah, you understand? That one is he was just football genius, and he was smart financially because he bought them for cheap. You understand?
Yeah, I
And he
think
built- and he
Liverpool's
built the brand
strategy has
out of them.
been, yeah,
You understand what I'm
Liverpool's
saying?
strategy has been
So,
good, yeah.
so if you find a director of football who just doesn't know how to monetize or who doesn't know how to negotiate in such a way that it will benefit the team financially, and then you'll find you Chelsea spending 300M in a space of 3 months. I mean, that's just 600, yeah.
now
That's
they've
really
spent-
ridiculous. You understand what I'm saying? Because why? We're just lacking a director of football who's just gonna be stable. Yes, never mind the fact that there's been a change of ownership, but yeah, that's been the situation. Ah, fuck.
Speaking of
So,
Chelsea,
yeah.
Umbrella. Oh shit!
Yeah,
but
he
the show
leaned
goes
umbrella
on.
away, yeah,
The show goes on. Show goes on. Yeah, like speaking of Chelsea, dog, what do you think of your team's strategy, your transfer strategies? Do you actually think like there is a strategy?
For me, I don't think there's a strategy.
You don't know?
For me, I'm thinking they're just buying players which are good. And in terms of that, bro, like I'm just really disappointed with how they've moved in terms of like management, right? So it's been really bad. Coaching wise, tactical wise, I can't blame Karen Potter, but then it's a thing of like he should also be the one to blame in terms
Yeah,
of
like
knowing
there's some sort of
what to
stepping up
use.
to do on his end. Nah? Yeah, there's some sort of like I feel like with Graham Potter, like
Yeah.
as much as we can't blame him, I think there's some sort of like he needs to step up. Like there's something that he needs to do because there's no way you're gonna allow your team to be this bad. You know,
Yeah.
there's no way you're gonna win. I mean, you're gonna lose like 7 games out of 9 matches. Like you know, that's yeah, that doesn't work.
Yeah,
so,
that's bad. Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, in terms of that, I guess yeah, the transfer we sorted it out. So yeah, what else do we have to wrap up with?
Nothing much really. I just want to know what's your Premier League predictions. Who do you think is gonna win? Top 4. Give me your top 4, and then yeah, we'll leave
Okay,
it
top 4. Top 4. It's Arsenal.
in order, right? Is
Yeah.
this in order? Okay.
Arsenal, Man City. I think it might be Newcastle
Hater.
and Tottenham.
I hate her. I knew it. He's not gonna say Man United because he's a hater. That's why.
But
And he knows
oh
United.
shit, there's United.
I told you.
Okay,
You see the sun?
Let
He's
me
lying.
rephrase. I think United in the space of Tottenham. So yeah, I think that's how it's gonna
United's
be.
gonna replace Tottenham.
Yeah.
I feel his one is I would say Arsenal. No, I'd say Man City, United, Arsenal, Newcastle.
Okay.
Let the games. No, I'm joking. Arsenal's winning the Premier League titles. Done and dusted. But until next time, I thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me, my brother.
Yeah. It's been a
I
pleasure.
hope we have many more. I hope we have rivalries. We have next week. We're probably gonna play a game. Not next week. Next episode, whatever. We'll have a football game quiz here, and check you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.